So management is not a new thing. Management is happened 100 years ago, even before the first World War. That maybe we are not born yet. Your grandfather or grandmother maybe not born yet. Management is already there. The theory of management or the concept of management is already there. Uh, as you can see in my sharing preview, that there is a scientific management theory that start from the 1890. This is before the World War, the First World War. The First World War happened here. If you remember from your history class in your high school, and then there is, so actually there are five major theory that become the foundation of the management theory. You should know all of it about the theory. Maybe this theory is long learning use, long time use. Yeah, you can use this theory to explain your research finding maybe in the future, yeah, or to become your foundation in explaining what is really what the value of management really, from the perspective of the theory. You can use the theory to explain something to someone. You can use the theory as your basic or your foundation of your thinking. You can use the theory to, yeah, in the practical view, because I'm the practical one, yeah. I'm the lecture with the maybe the most practical experience. In my perspective, the theory can be useful for you to explain the situation, to explain the phenomena. What is the reason behind it, or what is the foundation of your thinking, or what you use to elaborate the situation. So you can identify there are five theory. The first one is scientific management theory that happened approximately in 1890 to the 1940. This is when the Japanese first come to Indonesia in 1940. The second one happened at the same time, maybe with the scientific, slightly at the same time, yeah, but maybe a little bit late in the maybe 1895, yeah, administrative management theory, but this theory is happening much longer than the earlier one. So it happened maybe almost 100 years, yeah, almost, yeah, maybe almost 100 years, experiencing two World War, yeah, the First World War and the Second World War, through the 1980. This is when the 1980, when the computer first come. The Apple, the first computer become to the, or maybe in this era, yeah, 1970 to the 1980, the computer first come uh, to the world, yeah? The Apple one. So the administrative management theory is maybe the longest theory that happened in this world. So the third theory is behavioral management theory. We discuss it further about this specific theory, but in the general perspective, you can identify that there are five. So the behavioral management theory start from the maybe slightly in the 1915, yeah, and end in the and finish in the 1990. This is the this is the millennial era. Yeah. We start the millennial era in the 2000. So this is the economic boom. So you can read from the other reference or the other sources that you have in your internet that in the 1990 the economic is rising. Start in the earlier in the start of the 1990 the economic is rising like this because the phenomena of the IT is become the trigger of the economic boom in the 1990, and then in this time in the 1998, yeah, you can read from sources that there is a crisis, yeah, especially in the Southeast Asia, in Thailand. Start from Thailand and then in our country. So the our second president have been replaced by the third. This is, in this era there is a crisis. Start from the currency crisis, and then also influence the political situation in our country. Our second president replaced by the third. If I'm not mistaken, in 1998, our president has been replaced in the May of the 1998 to the third president, B.J. Habibie. So we go to the fourth theory about the management science. So it starts from the Second World War era in the 1940, and then end maybe slightly at the same time with the previous theory in the 1990. And then there is a theory that maybe the most organizational use until now is the contemporary theory or the recent theory about the organizational environment theory. Maybe this theory, because there is no theory that become more contemporary than this, so maybe all of the all of this theory are still used in the context of management right now, but maybe part of this theory are contributing to the one system that can be used in the organizational context. So you should be able to identify what component or what things that included in this each of this theory that become the practical concept in the context of organization. So we will start discussing this theory from the scientific management theory, the original one. the first theory that comes up to the management practice. Yeah, there is a person, yeah, or people who have the theory or have the thought about the scientific management, F.W. Taylor, yeah, and some other people that have the expertise in this field. Yeah. So from his perspective, there are some principles about the scientific management. So the scientific management definition, you can see this book tells you that the scientific management is the systematic study of relationship between people and tasks, and the purpose of pre-designing work process to increase efficiency. So there is your purpose in management. When you are in the company, you are not just have the obligation to increase the profit, increase the sales, increase the income of your organization, but also increase the efficiency. There is two things that influence the organization: the sustainability of the organization, especially in the profit-based organization, because because we discussed about the company, the profit-based organization, especially in this course. Mostly of this course, we are discussing about a profit-based organization. Maybe you can discuss about non-profit organization later in the other course. Yeah, you can take the public sector management or public sector accounting in the accounting course. That is fully discussing about the government or NGO, non-profit organization. So when we see from the company's perspective, we are doing two things, yeah, that the most important. First, increasing sales, or maybe I can draw like this: increasing sales or revenue, yeah, sales or revenue of the organization or the company. And second, decreasing costs, which is at the end, this will be increasing the efficiency, more efficient. If you be able to increasing the sales and then decreasing the cost at the maximum level, so you achieve the maximum efficiency in the organization. So that is a very practical or the most realistic target when you enroll in the profit base, or you become the member of the company. Your job is simply to one of these, or maybe both of these component. Yeah. First, increasing sales, and then the second, decreasing the cost. So this is the most realistic thing that you can maybe understand about the perspective of the organization. But in the process, this is not the easy job to do, because you have many aspects, internal environment, external environment, that influence you to become a manager in some organization. So from the scientific management point of view, you can identify that in the past time, yeah, in the scientific era, in this era, the purpose of management is simply to match the people and the tasks. Maybe for instance, or for example, when I know that maybe maybe the either IU can be a leader and can do some task, I match it with the task. Yeah? So either IU can do this, the other member can do this. Maybe Gede Sudiarsana can do this task that Santi can, or Ketut Astiti maybe can do some tasks that either Ayu and Gede Sudiarsana can do. Yeah. So simply matching the people and the task. There is no bureaucracy, there is no structure of the organization. Yeah. So I simply call the if I have the task or I have the duty, I have the problem in my house, for example, I simply can uh, call the people who really expert in this in that kind of situation. Yeah? So matching the people and the task, simply like that, and then I pay them for the work. So you can understand that by this principle from Frederick W. Taylor. Yeah. Uh, the first principle, he said that study the way workers perform their tasks, gather all the informal job knowledge and that worker process, and experiment with ways improving how tasks are performed. So simply matching, first thing to do, first thing first is matching your expertise with the task, matching your uh, performance, and then maybe in at the first time when doing some uh, typing job, yeah, maybe in the past time, uh, the first time maybe this worker is not efficient enough. She are doing the typing job for 3 days maybe. So I as the employer, the people who give a job to this worker, find a way manually, find a way how to increase the efficiency to make this worker can do their job in 1 day maybe. So I find the way manually. As you realize in this kind of time, yeah, in this kind of era in the scientific management, the revolution, the industrial revolution has been started. Yeah, when the in the England, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, uh, when the when you I don't know the terms, yeah, for the invention. So when the in the time of the 1920, the industrial revolution started for the first time. So all the works that uh, workers do maybe can be combined with the machine. Start from this era. So it is shifted from the agricultural era to the industrial one. And then the second principle that codify the new methods of performing tasks. Yeah, maybe this is the continuous process from the first one, that I as a employer, as a manager, I should codify, uh, yeah, manage the new methods of performing tasks into written rules. Yeah. So I write a rule. I write rules and a procedure for these workers. Yeah, but manually. I write these rules manually. And then the other principle, yeah, maybe this is the continuous process of the principle from the F.W. Taylor. But the core process is matching the people expertise and the job, as simply as that in the scientific management era. And then there is other people that also contributing in the concept of scientific management era. And then we are entering maybe they are happening at the same time, administrative and the scientific. If we back again at the timeline, almost happening in the same time, administrative and scientific, but ending in a different time, administrative happening longer than the scientific management. If you can realize or identify that there is a bureaucracy in the administrative management theory, maybe you can see from these 5 principles. Bureaucracy is a formal system. Bureaucracy is a system that organization and administration designed to make sure that this point, efficiency and effectiveness both achieved in the organization. So there is a 5 principle. The first one is formal authority. When you become a member of organization, you have a specific authority. Maybe, for instance, you become you are in one organization, you become a manager of finance, so you have the authority in the financing process or the accounting process. So one division or one department has some kind of formal authority. And then the second principle, individual occupy positions because of their performance. So performance matters from this era. Maybe some organization able to create a performance management system, but in the other side of organization, maybe the performance system is not good enough. It's not fair alongside the employee, but the concept or the ideas of measuring performance is already happen in this time, or in this era. The third principle, that each individual's authority and responsibility are specified by the organization. So from this principle, as an investor or as the owner of the organization, I can differentiate between one people responsibility and the others and authority. Maybe these people have the responsibility to manage the finance, and then these people have a responsibility to manage the people, and then the other people have the responsibility to manage the operational process of the company. So there is a separation that can be identified in organization. And then the fourth principle, that authority is exercised effectively when position and arranged hierarchically. So hierarchy, you can see there is ideas of hierarchy in this era. So maybe this is the reason that this era is happening longer than the other kind of theory, because and then it used until now, the bureaucracy, the hierarchy. When you see the organization, specifically maybe our faculty, you can see that the tallest hierarchy is dean, and then there are vice dean, PD, vice dean, and there are from the vice dean, there are department coordinator, maybe department coordinator, and then in the lowest position is me maybe right now as a lecturer. This is the hierarchy position in the our faculty, but in this time of era there is no separation between functional and the other core duty of the lecture, yeah, because the dean, the vice dean, and department coordinator is also a lecturer. They have two positions, as a functional one and as a lecturer. So maybe in this era, in the administrative management theory, there is only one position: dean as a dean, vice dean as a vice dean, and department coordinator as a department coordinator. But currently, in this time of era, in our era, the dean also have some responsibility, or maybe its core, or his or her core responsibility as a lecturer. So me and the dean as a same duty as a lecturer in the faculty, but he or she maybe has the other duties or responsibility as a dean. So they have multiple positions or multiple responsibility in the organization. I only have one maybe as a lecturer. So the 5 principle is the rules of the organization are followed and control individual behavior. So as I told you earlier, it's not my personal decision to use English in this class. It is the organizational decision that influence my behavior. There is a rules in the organization. There is a procedure that I should comply with. So it's influence maybe when the faculty representative told me that I should use bilingual language, so I do that as a organizational bureaucracy or organizational task, yeah, because it is never personal in my perspective as the professional. When you become professional, your personal feeling doesn't really matter. You can keep it, or maybe you can share it with the other people, but not in the organizational context, not in your job, daily job duties. You can do that. You should differentiate between personal and organizational point of view. Okay, so this is the second theory. We just jump to the second theory. Maybe you feel dizzy, your head feel dizzy about the theory. It is normal. So I encourage you to create questions maybe that we can discuss together. Yeah, I can ensure you that I fully satisfied your questions. Yeah, the perfect answer for your questions. Okay, there are also some concept, yeah, in this era. Yeah, you can see from this table: division of labor, authority, unity of command, line of authority, centralization. Maybe there is decentralization, unity of direction, equity, order, initiative. Yeah, this is you can search in the internet. Yeah, this Fayol's 14 principle of management. But overall, they are ending in the same principle as the earlier, yeah. That maybe this principle, this 5 core principle about the formal authority, performance, yeah. So authority, and then the second is performance. The third is this is organizational authority. This is the third is individual authority, and then the fourth is hierarchy or structure. You can say that as a organizational structure, hierarchy, and then the fifth is the behavior. So the principle already capturing 5 aspects of this 5 important aspects that can be used until now. So the administrative is maybe already represent the current situation until now, yeah, about some concept that you should be able to identify and understand. So before we are entering the third one, maybe I will stop the sharing session and I give you some time to ask a question that related to the subject. Please, if you have any questions. So I want to ask your permission to drink, yeah, to drink a water, yeah, because I talk too much maybe. Is there any questions? Oh, yeah. AA istri is I call it right, yeah. AA istri Pringga. You raise a hand, please. What is Langkir? Yeah? Is that your or group? Yeah, name of the group maybe.
Yes, sorry, sir. It's like yesterday I was just get some Zoom meeting for Hindu student, like something like that. Sorry,
Oh, KMHD maybe.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let me.
I think earlier, is it your name Langkir? Yeah, maybe, but I think it's not. Yeah, I think your name started with AA or Anak Agung. Yeah.
It's, no, it's not, sir. Pardon me.
Yeah, yeah. Please, you can.
Okay. I will just ask: is there possibility there will be a new theory in the future?
Okay. Is that all your question?
Yes, just
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, there is possibility that a new theory will be comes up, but in my opinion, yeah, in my professional opinion, or maybe you can call it personal, yeah, maybe not personal, yeah. In my professional opinion, the new theory that will comes up in the future maybe the extension, yeah, the extension of the previous theory, because this fact theory is already, we can call it as a foundation, yeah, it's already become a foundation of this management theory. So maybe in the future there is a possibility that new theory will be comes up. Maybe you can find the new theory, yeah, as the management student, maybe from your research, maybe you do a research and you find a new theory, that is very amazing. If you can, because it's not easy to find or to create a new theory. New theory will be comes up will be fully created if many people use it as a foundation of their thinking, maybe in their research, in their books, in their in their process of thinking, that theory, your theory maybe can be used. Yeah. But in the research process, actually, in the reality, when you're doing some research in the next 8 or 7 semester, you use another person theory, another people's theory, yeah, maybe, or the past theory. So the theory become useful from one people to other people, from you to your friend in Udayana, your friend in Gajah Mada, in the same subject, yeah, management. Your friend in maybe in Hasanuddin, your friend in Andalas, your friend in the other region in Indonesia, in other part of the world, yeah, in Harvard, in Columbia University, in Nanyang Technological of, maybe your friend in the same subject use the same theory, maybe same as your research. So that theory become bigger and bigger, yeah, because many people use it. When many people can be influenced or use the theory, so the theory becomes become more bigger and useful. That is a simple explanation from me as from a practical perspective, yeah, to use the theory as your foundation of thinking. But there are some benefit of the theory that the people think about the theory, but in my opinion, the theory can be used to become a foundation of our thinking in our day-to-day life, yeah, or day-to-day operation. So maybe as your question, this there is a possibility about the new theory, but the underlying word, yeah, that this theory will only an extension from previous theory, not the new, because in this era there is actually nothing new. What you do, the innovation, the innovative or the finding one is already there, already happening before. Your finding, your innovation is just the extension of what happening before, in my opinion. Yeah? Except when you can find about the rocket science. Yeah. So you will become the inventor of this era. But other than the rocket science, especially in the management science, so there is nothing new. As in the social science, in my expertise, yeah, in accounting, there is nothing new in accounting. There are many methods that we can use in accounting, yeah, to create a financial statement, but in my opinion, there is nothing new. The standard, we have standard, yeah, to in the accounting profession, when we create the accounting standard that we use in Indonesia, we call it PSAK, ya, peraturan standar akuntansi keuangan. Maybe you should know a little bit about this standard, because management is the closest profession with accounting, from accounting, sorry. So the closest friend of mine is management, in the management subject, not in the engineering, not in the other subject, but your closest friend in the company is from accounting too. So you should be able to make a friend from your with your accounting college. So when you need them to do some task or a job, you can simply call them, or or vice versa. When your accounting friend need you in the management task or management responsibility, you can apply yourself to that kind of situation. So in the accounting, when we create a standard is very dynamic, from time to time, but in creating a standard we have the principle. We call it principle. It's like it is the same, maybe with theories, principle with theories, because we can call it theories in creating a standard. Well, we call it principles. So the principle is becoming popular because when back to the past time in the 1940, maybe the our standard accounting standard is rule based. So there is a absolute authority from the leader to create a rules. They have the absolute power to create a rules. But in this kind of era, there is more freedom. Each member of the organization can contribute to the standard when creating a draft. So maybe it is a part of democracy. It is a part of some part of democracy. But if you realize in some part of democracy there is authority, there is always a decision, decision maker, the ultimate decision maker. There is the leader, the duty of the highest leader in the organization, highest part of the structure. When we think about the democracy, we think about the freedom to create a opinion or create a decision. There is always a ultimate leader, ultimate decision maker. Because if we rely fully on the democracy process, eventually we can't create any decision, because some people will have different kind of thinking. So we will confuse at the end if we don't have any ultimate decision maker, like a leader. Maybe in the faculty, the dean is the ultimate decision maker. So when so as a leader, beside to create a room for discussion, he or she also have the instinct to create the decision at the end. Okay, so I hope that I can fully satisfy your questions. So maybe you can also search. You can search in the Google Scholar about the possibility of new theory. You can type in your browser Scholar Google. You can type the keywords as a management theory. So there is a many discussion about that kind of topic. You can type from now, from this semester, you will be able to become knowing this kind of platform. the Google Scholar, because this platform is mostly used in your or in the previous research process, yeah, from your friend in the course. So you become more knowing this kind of platform, the Google Scholar, and the other reference that you can use, especially in the scientific environment. Yeah, you can use less subjective one. You can use more objective reference like research and then report from the formal organization, or maybe you can use opinion. Yeah? You can use some opinion from the expertise, but you should be able to select uh, the objective one, yeah, about the grounding of the new theory in the context of management. Okay, so there are any questions? There, I see that 5 people are already raising their hands. Maybe we can start from the from either Ayu. You can, the coordinator. You can ask your questions.
Thank you, sir, for the time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask about the bureaucracy, sir. What will happen when we not following the system of bureaucracy? Sometimes or in case we have to make a fast decision, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah, bureaucracy is a system, yeah, a big system, the main system. If you're not entering the system, so you out of the system. So this is very interesting when you have a dilemma in the organization. The kind of situation, yeah, when the organization is the objective of the organization is not fit with your thinking or your personal belief. Yeah. So it is the same with this class. Yeah. When this class is not fully fit with your personal belief, you can out of the system, but you can go out from the system. Maybe I can give you an example. Yeah, when the Enron, maybe you can search the Enron case. There is a company called Enron. It is an international multinational company in the oil and gas sector that happen to be most popular organization that have a fraud case when the some part of, maybe the most part of organization is doing fraud in the Enron. So there is one people, we call it whistleblower. The whistleblower or these people is have a different personal belief with the organization process. Yeah, maybe she or he reject to doing some fraud activity, yeah, or she reject to become the part of this fraud scheme. So she or she blows the information to the public. Yeah. Blows the information or blows the or share the information and the process to the public. So this organization is investigated by the SEC in America. SEC in America is actually OJK in Indonesia, if you realize. Yeah, it is they have the same role. Yeah? SEC, yeah? Securities Exchange Commission, is same with the OJK, Otoritas Jasa Keuangan in Indonesia. So that company is become investigated for this fraud case. The whole organization doing that, the whole part of organization doing that, except this whistleblower. But to become the whistleblower is not easy. You have many threats from internal and external environment. Your family become have the exposure to the threat. You can maybe the KPK case when the leader of the KPK is receiving any threat with alcohol. You can maybe So there is the risk become whistleblower, become the person who have a different personal belief, which is maybe this person is becoming the right person in the environment. The organizational environment is already have a bad habit, maybe. But yeah, that is the dilemma. Yeah, when you become the part of the organization, you have to accept becoming whistleblower. You can do that actually. You can become the whistleblower, but it's not easy. It's not because you have some dilemma, you have some thinking about how you and your family will receiving any threat maybe from internal and external environment. So simply maybe you have two choices. Yeah? You go out from the system and you stay in the system, but you become whistleblower. Or maybe the third option is you stay and you become the system. You become embedded in the system, or you become part of the system that may be corrupt or maybe doing some unethical behavior. So that is the dilemma, yeah, when we are not agree to the bureaucracy, the system. But when you are new, yeah, to the organization, you just entering the organization, it is hard to become the decision maker, to become the person that have. Or maybe you can do that in the startup, yeah? When there is much equality, then you become the member of the corporation. Maybe in the startup you have some freedom, but in my opinion, startup and the corporation just like the same. Yeah, the structure may be different. The startup become more of the startup has a more flat structure than the corporation. The corporation have a more taller structure, but the process is, I think, the same. As long as the organization have some stakeholders like shareholders, and then the regulators, and then the consumers, and then the suppliers, and then the other creditors, and then the other important stakeholders that are already there in the corporation. So I think, in my opinion, the process is, or the condition is much likely the same as in the general situation. So you entering some organization, maybe in the startup, they have more flat structure, but the structure is only the part of the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is not structure. It's not the structure of organization. Bureaucracy is a system. You should be able to differentiate between system and the structure. You can easily draw the structure, draw maybe like me earlier. I easily can draw the structure from the dean, vice dean, and then below them there are some lecturer. But when you draw a bureaucracy, you can easily draw a bureaucracy. A bureaucracy is a system. There is a procedure inside them, and then there is a structure. There is other parts that really complex, that maybe shaping your belief, personal belief also. So it maybe, for my example, you can see the dilemma you will face in the organization. Every kind of organization. For example, like me in this faculty, I have many dilemmas. I face many dilemmas in this. Maybe you can see FA Undiksa as the simple organization. Maybe you can more simple than the corporation, but that kind of simplicity doesn't determine the dilemma. The dilemma is still there. They still are facing the member of the organization. Maybe the dilemma also facing you as a student. Yeah, you are the most important stakeholder in this organization, in this university. So in maybe we can see in our organization, in the university, there are two most important stakeholders, you and then the lecturer. There is no more important than us, the student and the lecturer. So you should be able to identify your role, and then maybe you have dilemma. Yeah? Maybe the final assignment is very difficult. Maybe the final thesis is very complex process. But it is, in my opinion, this process is very beneficial for you in the future. Yeah? It's not bad. The assignment, the thesis process, the class process. It is very bad when I not be able to teaching you face to face, but I have obligation to do that actually. I intentionally do not want to teach you. Maybe I have the opportunity to not teaching you in this online face-to-face class. I have the opportunity. I have the opportunity to just give you an assignment that you couldn't understand at all, maybe. But I don't do that. Yeah? I want to fully comply to or fully give my responsibility to teach you, because my main responsibility is teaching you, not the other else, not the other activity, not becoming maybe the other activity in this faculty, but my responsibility as a lecturer is teaching you. Although you maybe not understand at the first time, but I think, or I assume that you can participate in this class at the process. Yeah. So I think that is normal when you become confused, or maybe you feel a little bit dizzy in your head when you take some course from the lecturer, because the character of the lecturer different. Me and the Mr. X and Mr. or Mrs. Y is different. Okay, maybe I hope that you will be satisfy your questions, either are you, or you have any thoughts or any different, or maybe some you want to share some things to us.
Thank you, sir. Because from my senior high school, I'm following organization, and I frequently feels like
what kind of organization? Because you have same high school with me.
Maybe in your era.
Student association, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because
I'm following
I also a member of student
DPS.
association.
Sorry?
Because I also a member of a student association back in high school. Yeah.
Okay.
So I know the that kind of student association in your high school, yeah. Because earlier in the first meeting you told me that you come from SMA 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in your era it's called a Satgas. And in my era, it's called DPS, Dewan Perwakilan Siswa. And,
oh yeah, the legislative one.
Yeah.
The one that have legislative role.
Because I frequently feels like when I follow the bureaucracy, in case if I should make a fast decision and the people who I should communicate about the decision is a slow response, and I so confused. Should I follow the bureaucracy or should I make a decision by myself? And from your explanation, I can understand what will I do if that situation come to me again.
Okay, there is no absolute decision or absolute answer to your questions. Yeah, it depends on your situation. It depends on your feeling as a leader. Yeah, because beside the practical and the conceptual thinking, the leader should have the instinct. Yeah, from your experience or from the other experience, yeah, the other in this class maybe also experience to become a leader in student association back in high school. All of you maybe experience some dilemma already, yeah? Already experience some dilemma when making a decision. Maybe your teacher doing some fraud activity, maybe you identify that your teacher stealing the organizational money, maybe, or maybe your highest authority beside the teacher or the other organization. Maybe in your young association, in your neighborhood, yeah, neighborhood environment, you have the organization. Maybe you identify or you observe that some people are stealing the money or doing the unethical work or unethical decision. You realize that you have some point in the one point in the professional context and some point at the personal context. You should be able to differentiate that kind of context, yeah, because it will influence your decision as a leader. Okay, maybe next questions, because there are many people here raising their hands. Maybe I will continue to the top of my screen, ya. Niluh Putu Cantika. Please, you can.
Hello, sir. Is my voice
ask
clear?
your questions.
You can hear my voice? You can hear my voice?
Yeah,
I want to know more deeper from the explanation before that say to match the people with the task. So as a good manager, is it okay to give them maybe my employee or my friends with organization like talents, like give them tasks that different with their own skill or passion, or I must find out what their skill is, what their on passion is, to give them the tasks that really match with their self, because everybody's different. Maybe the one good with this, but the one is good with other things.
Okay, this is really a good question. In this situation, in this era, yeah, when people have different kind of skills, maybe in the future you have 2 different jobs or 3 different jobs. You have the side jobs. With the help of the technology, with the help of the IT, you can do that. Actually, you can have the 3 jobs or more, and then you have more skills. Yeah, you can take more course outside this university. Maybe you can take from the platform like Udemy, and then the other educational platform, informal educational platform. And then as an employer in this kind of era, as a organizational owner, you expect someone to have multiple skills. Maybe me as the owner now, right now, as a in the era of a technological advance, I expect some people or some graduate have multiple skills in maybe in for example in finance, and then in designing the system, and then in the tax maybe. So they have some multiple skill that can be beneficial to organization, and then eventually the organization can be more efficient, yeah? Because one person have multiple skills, so I don't have to hire more people. But it becomes more difficult to your generation, yeah? To your environment, because the competition is become more tight than before. So you are graduating from the management. In my suggestion, yeah, you can have just one skill in the management. You have to more. You have to take some specific skills, yeah, in the management, because when we become more specific, the competition is more loose than before, than the general skills one. When you have the maybe in for example, when Niluh Putu take the human resources management, yeah, the concentration in human resources management, and then you specifically address the problem or the issues, maybe the diversity, issues in the organization. So you become expert in that field, or maybe you focus in the gender, yeah? Focus in the gender equality in the organization, in the field of the human resources management. You become expert in that field, and you become specialized, and you're not you can be changed easily with people, with other people that have maybe same skills with yours. So maybe the benefit of the benefit of having some specific skills can help you in the future. And then you can add some additional skills that are very practical, yeah? In my opinion, should be very practical, and then should be very helpful to the organization or company, should be very useful. Yeah? The most job that have a big threat, yeah, big exposure to the threat in the future, is one of them is accounting. My expertise, my kind of subject, because technology become threat for every job, yeah? Many jobs, including accounting. The accountant can be easily changed by the robot right now. In the past, people may be very the accountant, the people who doing job in accounting, may be very important to the organization, yeah? Because they manually doing some job that specifically the other people can do it. But in the future, maybe in the some part of the process in the accounting job, the robot can do that, and the people can easily change by them or replaced by them. But in the accounting, if I tell my student in accounting, the important thing that you should have in the future is your judgment, your professional judgment. Yeah? So robot can do that. Yeah? Robot can have the professional judgment, because we are simply a human. That is the gift from the we have, that we can explore our judgment, professional judgment, in making some financial statements in the context of accounting. So maybe it is the same for you in the context of management, judgment is very important when you become a manager in some organization. For example, when you become human resources management, the robot can assess the people feelings maybe, but in your expertise, you can do that, to assess the performance, assess the people intention in your organization, and then people management. Maybe you are more expert than me in that kind of field in the future. So the point is you have to more more specialized in what some kind of your expertise. You can graduate as a management, as a management expertise, because it is very wide. Management is very wide, so you have to be more specialized. What do you want? Maybe in UNIXA you can be you can learn more about human resources management. The first concentration, and the second concentration is you learn about financial financial management. If you want to learn about financial management and financial accounting, if you want to learn about financial management, so you should be able to know more about accounting, because it is they are very close. Maybe you can consult with me as the lecturer in accounting. But if you want to more, maybe the other concentration is marketing, and then you want to choose the marketing, and then you should be able to identify the lecturer who really expert on that field in UNIXA, in FA UNIXA. And then the last, I forgot the last concentration. There are 4 in if I'm not mistaken, in UNIXA: marketing, and then financial, and then the last one is information system. If I'm not mistaken, the concentration you should choose in the future, because you can graduate as a management, as a management only. You should graduate in one specific concentration. If I'm not mistaken, if you are in accounting, you actually don't have to choose the concentration in undergraduate time, in undergraduate era or process. But in management, you should choose that. You should choose one concentration, because management is really wide. You can go to the company and apply for job, and then you say that you are from management only. What kind of management? The employer will ask you. Or when you want to create a company, you become an entrepreneur. What kind of management you expert in? So you can choose your partner in the other concentration, or the other expertise that you don't have the expertise. But your closest friend, the closest subject in your job in the future is accounting. Management is really close to the accounting. The closest friend of the CEO is CFO. The closest friend of director utama or president director is direktur keuangan. So you should be more you should or you should be more create environment, or create a friendly environment with your accounting colleagues, accounting friend. So it is the reason behind that the accounting and management becoming one faculty, not separate faculty. Okay. Maybe you have some thoughts, Nilo Putu Cantika, you can share it, or you have some opinion in that kind of issues. Maybe you are
Okay.
ready. Yeah.
So from your explanation, as a good manager, we must give the challenge to our employee or our friends to make their grow their skill. Maybe like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Challenge
Is
is
it
very
clear
important.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Challenge and competition is very important. Very good actually, because competition can enhance your ambition in the positive way. Yeah? Enhance the competition is the backbone of the equality. When the CEO of Tokopedia, yeah, the said earlier in the podcast, one of the podcasts, uh, he said that the backbone of the equality in this era, because you can find any equality in the past time. Yeah? When you experience the first or second world war, where is the equality? You can find them. But now, in the democracy, and then in the millennial era, and then in the technological rising era, you can find any equality, and where you find it in the competition. Either Ayu and maybe Inilo Putu Cantika have same opportunity to work in the, maybe, for example, in McKinsey. McKinsey is the best consulting management firm in the world. So I give you in the behavioral organizational course, yeah, I give you the the assignment, individual assignment from their article. Actually, you can search, yeah. McKinsey is the best consulting firm in the world. Consulting management firm. They specialize in the management field. So you can see from the best of the best. Yeah. You can see from the best practice what is their thought, or what is their thinking about this, about current issues and environment. I give you the best source that I know, so you can experience their thoughts, and then in the future, maybe you work in the simpler organization, more simple organization, but you have your best practice that you already know in your course experience when you become a college student. You can learn more the McKinsey practice in their website. Yeah. You can search the mckinsey.com or org. I forgot the website. You can search, and then you can the competitor is BSG, Boston Consulting Group. You can search that also about Boston Consulting Group. They are the two biggest firm in the field of management. I apply the McKinsey earlier in my college. When I was undergraduate student, I applied for their conference, yeah, and then I become the speaker in their conference once in Indonesia, and then it was very insightful. I met with several expertise in management field, and then from several countries, not just from Indonesia. Okay. Maybe the next question, there are still 5 remaining hands that I see in this Zoom platform, but we have a very limited time. The material is not completed yet, I explained to you, but maybe you can also search in the different sources, yeah, from me, and then you confirm it, and then you tell, maybe tomorrow you can tell it, or you can ask me, or next week in the, because introduction to management and organizational behavior is not uh, really far away. Yeah? That course is really connected to each other. Okay, next maybe Luh Putu Ayu Juwita, you can ask your questions because you are raising your hand.
Thank you, sir, from the time. I want to ask you about management theory in this area. How will the development of management theory in the future? Because we know that technology is constantly evolving. Thank you.
Maybe the answer is same with the previous questions about the the possibility of new theory comes up in the future, because the influence of the technology, maybe the theory in my personal or my professional opinion, I think that there is no theory at all in the future, maybe, but there is possibility, because the new theory will be just the extension of the previous theory, the five most foundation theory that we know in this book or in this reference, or maybe in the other reference that you find. The existing theory, you can identify them, and then you know that the new theory that comes up in the future or now maybe is just the extension of the before the previous theory. So in my opinion, in my personal or professional opinion, there will be no theory in the future, the new theory in the future, because it's just the extension, same as my explanation before when your friend asked me about the development of the theory. And so maybe maybe with my suggestion, you can focus in the existing theory that happened in the past, and then maybe already happening now, already implemented or already actualized now in the organizational context. Okay, next will be, because we have a really limited time here, Desa Kadek Christine, you can ask your questions, please.
Okay, thank you for the time, sir. I would like to ask you, if we have an organization, should we implement all the 5 principles in bureaucracy, or if we shouldn't implement all the 5, is there the most important principle that we should or can use in our organization? Thank you.
Yeah, this is also a good question. The theory is not rules. Theory is not rules. Theory is principle. You can use that or you do not use that. It is your choice. It's up to you. But in the implementation, I think that you naturally will implement one of them. Yeah, 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 of them. You will be implemented naturally. When you implement the theory, you will not look at your books to implement the theory. You will naturally become a manager that maybe, for example, creating a structure. Yeah, when you become an entrepreneur, for example, you want to assign maybe Putu Cantika in CFO, Ida Ayu in CTO, and then you as a CEO, you naturally become doing that kind of activity without the help of the books. Yeah, in theory, because theory is not rules, yeah, that you should comply with. Theory is your theory just capturing your activity or explaining the reason behind your activity. It is not the rules that you should comply with. Maybe you can implement some things that the other organization already implement. So you take an example from the other organization that have maybe the structure that you want to implement in your organization as an entrepreneur. But the theory, I said again, is not the rules that you should comply with. It should be naturally capturing your activity or explaining your activity in the organization. But when you are creating when you create an organization, you shouldn't use the theory as your rules, yeah, or your standard operating procedure, because it's really far away from that. Theory is like, it's like camera, camera that you should be shouldn't be realized in the theory that have the ability to capture your activity, not you that realize the camera, this kind of camera. But yeah, in my opinion, you can implement one, or you're not implementing the theory at all. It's up to you. But in my opinion, when you create an organization, you will be naturally implement one of them, at least one of them, the theory. You shouldn't be worried about you are not implementing one of the theory of the management, because when you become the manager, you will become when you become the best manager, you have to become the more natural than the mechanic one, the robot, our ability as a human is become the natural, become more natural than the robot or the machine. So maybe the theory can capture your activity, but it's not the rule you should comply with. That is my opinion. Yeah? Maybe you have some specific opinion or thoughts. Please share it to the class. Yeah?
No.
Okay. Maybe
Thank you.
Okay. So 3 remaining questions. Please, Igede Wahyu Krishna Dharma, you can speak.
Okay, thanks for the time that given to me. My question is simple. Is there any deficiency in administrative management theory? That's all, sir. Thank you.
Okay. This is also a good question, sir. When you become when you entering the administrative situation, you will be more focused on the administrative process. Yeah? So you will be focused on the structure, you will be focused on the documents, and then you will be focused on your maybe some things that actually important, but it's not your core activity, it's not your core value. Because I told you you earlier about that becoming a good manager when you have the professional instinct, when you have professional value that not all written in the company's rules, regulation, or standard operating procedure. The good organization is when you can we can see a good organization is when you can see the match between the organizational value and individual values that maybe not all written in this context of the value. Yeah, some organization write their values. Maybe in Unixa you can see the value that we encourage to all the stakeholders that have all of this value written in some documents or some platform. But the best organization is when you can identify the goal congruence, natural goal congruence between the individual and the organizational. The organizational one in the context of profit-based organization, the company or the organization want to create profit, the most realistic target is profit. When you can sales, you have the more sales, and then you have minimum expense, you can create efficiency, and then you do that as a individual, and then you achieve a performance, you achieve a reward based on your performance fairly in the organization, and then that is the backbone of the capitalism. We see capitalism far way ago. This concept is not new. When the VOC entering Indonesia, VOC is maybe the first company listing in the public. You can see the public company like that in Indonesia. The public company have some identification. When you see TBK in their name, that company is listing in the Indonesian exchange. So they have the public investor. Like you, maybe you become the investor of the public company. You can be the investor in the public company. You can identify the company like this in their name. When you see PT BNI, Bank Negara Indonesia, TBK, PT Unilever, TBK, PT something TBK, you can see that this company have multiple stakeholders, very wide stakeholders, different kind of stakeholders, from the shareholders. You in Indonesia, shareholders, you can say that as a pemegang saham, and then the other stakeholders like director, management, and then the creditor, the bank, and then the other stakeholders. And matching or creating a goal congruence between individual and organization and the company in the context of public company is more difficult than the small medium enterprises. Maybe when you see in small medium enterprises, maybe especially in Bali, you go to the coffee shop, maybe in our town, you ask the management, who is the CEO of this coffee shop, and then the management tells you that this is the CEO. And then who is the CFO? The CFO is the same person as the CEO. When you see in the small medium enterprises, SMEs, so it becomes more difficult, to make a goal congruence in the corporation compared to the small medium enterprises, because in the corporation you can have the two positions in one person, especially in the big position like CEO and CFO. Maybe in the future, Igede Wahyu Krishna maybe, for example, work in PLN. Maybe Igede can be CEO and CFO at the same time, in PLN, because that is a very big job, very big responsibility you have in the two positions as a CEO and a CFO. But in the small medium enterprises like coffee shop in our town, maybe you can do that actually, to become both CEO and CFO at the same time. So maybe you have interest in the future in the small medium enterprises, but some of you will have some interest in the corporation. If you are asking me what is my interest, I have interest in the corporation. From my first time of my job, for my first job, I worked as an auditor, and then my client was in the corporation, mostly in the corporation. But I have an experience in some medium organization, like my client 3 years ago was PDAM, in all region in Bali, and then that is the medium organization. The structure is not complex as the corporation. because when you identify in the corporation have the subsidiaries. Yeah? Maybe you not knowing what this kind of terms, yeah, subsidiaries is anak perusahaan. And then the subsidiaries also have the subsidiaries. So the parent company, induk perusahaannya punya cucu. Yeah. So the structure or the bureaucracy is very complex. My client was Pertamina, ya, PT Pertamina. Pertamina have approximately 100 subsidiaries. Yeah, Pertamina. PT Pertamina has 100 subsidiaries. So how to control it as a manager? Maybe in the future you are the manager in Pertamina. How you control 100 subsidiaries? There is more complex task than the simple organization in SMEs. In SMEs, even you can have two important positions, CEO and CFO. But in Pertamina or the other TBK company, you can do that. Okay, so the most important point is to align the or to make a goal congruence, yeah, to align the goal between the individual and the organization, and that is the job of the manager. That is the job of yours. That is the job of yours in the future as a manager. I expect you become a manager in the future. Okay, maybe next, yeah, next questions. There are two remaining questions from Gede, maybe Gede Adi Satria, please.
Yes, thank you for the time, sir. I just want to ask about the theory come from 1890 that you say that increase the sales and decrease the cost. Is it the same meaning of capitalism? And is all the big companies are capitalists? That's all, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. The profit-based company, when you create a company, you become a capitalism. Yeah? You become the part of the capitalism when you entering the company. Or you entering the government in Indonesia. You entering the system of capitalism because we are in the free market. Some of our part is in the free market. When you see the government, the local government maybe, creating a street in Singaraja, maybe, in our town, repairing the street. Who do you think taking the job? There are companies that helping the government to create the street. The government that doesn't have that ability to create the job directly. Their people creating a street, not like that. Yeah? They hire a company in the process. Yeah? So the company apply to the government, and the government make a decision who will be in charge in this project, yeah, to create a street. So actually, in this kind of democracy, you should accept that you are the part of the capitalism. Maybe not fully part, yeah, because the Indonesia is still empowering the value of Pancasila. Yeah, when that is the difference between us and the country like United States. United States is already fully implemented or fully capturing the capitalism, but us is not full, but we are part of it. We have the exposure of the capitalism. And then from the if you ask me a question from the the era of the scientific management, yeah, the capitalism is already there. Maybe I can tell you that capitalism already when VOC entering our country. The capitalism is already there. When you have the free when you awarded based on your performance. The capitalism is your maybe your backbone in your activity. You graduate from this course, from this subject, from this university, and then you become you become the part of the competition to apply for the job. You become the part of capitalism. Or when you create a system to employ or you become an entrepreneur and then you hire some people, you become the part of capitalism, yeah? because you're allowing some people to compete in your hiring process. So the capitalism is already here, yeah? Long ago, before you were born, before I was born, but not fully reflected in Indonesia because we already have some core values like Pancasila and then the other values. But in my opinion, it is fair. It is fair when you have the some point of capitalism. You can explain to me what is the more fair system than capitalism in this world here. Because when you see the other concept like communism, I don't think that the system will be sustainable in the future because there is no fair system in there. You can compete with equal position in the communism system, yeah? But you can discuss it more specifically this kind of system or phenomena in the other course, yeah, than this management, because management is when you entering this course you are already in the capitalism process or capitalism framework. When you become a manager, because when you have manager, when you become the manager, you have the upper position that you should responsible for, and then you have the lower position you have that you should assign to in the operation in the daily activity, and then in that kind of situation you automatically become the part of the capitalism process. You can study this kind of concept maybe in the history, yeah? or I don't know the course, but this management course is not really explaining that kind of concept, yeah? The capitalism, because when you first entering this course, you can reject, yeah, that you don't want to be part of the capitalism because you already there. You already jump in me also already jumping in the capitalism area or capitalism process. You can out of this, you can go out to the capitalism process, capitalism part aspect when you go to the North Korea maybe, or China, when the communism is still dominate in that country, or in the Middle East, yeah? when there are when the democracy is not the core value of the country. But when you entering the democracy, you live in Indonesia, you should accept that you are in the capital. You should accept that you becoming the part of capitalism, but not full part maybe, because we are also encouraging the value of Pancasila. But when the value of the country is democracy, you can neglect, you can reject that the capitalism is in your environment, in your core value, because simply in the simple example, when you graduate from this university, when you want to apply to the public organization or profit-based organization, you should compete each other. That is the backbone of capitalism, competition. Yeah, competition is the backbone of capitalism. But when you are in the China, maybe when the communism is still dominant, maybe you should ask your relatives to include you in the company, so there is no competition at all. Yeah, you can create a collusion with your family. Maybe you ask your uncle to be part of the company, and then your friend will be rejected from that position because you have relatives. But you can realize, yeah, in Indonesia is not perfect. The capitalism is not perfect at all, because you can ask your relatives right now. Still, can your ask your relatives to give you a job maybe in the future. But in some part of the process, the competition is already fair in Indonesia. The capitalism is already there. Okay, I hope I can satisfy your questions. You can share the other your thoughts maybe tomorrow or next week, because we still have one plus ultimate questions. Maybe the day Ari, you can ask your questions, please.
Okay, thanks for the time, sir. Before
Yeah.
I ask my question, do you hear my voice before?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So now I would like to ask you about the evolution of management theory, especially in scientific management theory. So at the past you said that using people who can do the tasks and then pay them for the tasks, uh, or matching with their ability. So it's mean that the people is uh, one of the people who work in the freelance worker, or they were is uh, permanent job, permanent worker on the some industry like that, sir. Thank you.
Okay. This is also a good question, and then related to the previous question from your friend, yeah, like what theory should be implemented right now. Because all the 5 theories is not, maybe the book said that this theory is end in the some point of time, yeah, in our story. But in my personal, in my professional opinion, that the theory is still here, all of the theory, 5 theory. So as you can realize that freelance job or freelance kind of work, uh, you can do that right now. Yeah, there is a platform that you can use to do a freelance job. So like I said earlier, there is nothing new. Yeah? So there is no new concept right now. The freelance concept is already happened in the even in the 1890, before the First World War. So you can realize that you maybe in this kind of era, the technology help us, yeah, to really matching the job and the capability of the freelancer. We call it freelancer, yeah? The worker that work in the freelance. Maybe you can do the freelance job too, yeah. Right now, as a student, you can apply to become maybe in the field of management. Maybe, for example, to manage the employee benefit. Yeah. Employee benefit in Indonesia is tunjangan, kepegawaian. You can manage them right now if you want. If you have the ability in Excel, if you have if you have the capability in managing data in Excel, and then the other technical skills. Or you also can learn from the other platform, yeah. If you want to learn the specific skills, you learn from Udemy, you learn from the other platform that provide the specific skills, because a university can help you maybe in that kind of specific skills, yeah. Maybe in the how to manage the employee benefit data with Excel, or how to design the company logo with Photoshop maybe, or the other kind of specific skill. University can do that maybe, but right now you can pay as lower as possible to enter the course specific skill, and then you become the independent freelancer, yeah. You create money. So there is there are phenomena when the young people have a big money from their job, yeah. But there is also a consequences that when the young people have the more younger generation right now have more stressful environment than before, than my era. In my era, there is no freelancer environment, yeah. The young people like me or like you just focus on the study. But right now, the young people like you in your era or in your time can do the study and the work at the same time, and then the consequences is that they have more stressful condition, a stressful environment, because they can manage it, manage the time, manage the energy, manage the uh, manage the time and the energy, yeah. Because you are entering the management subject, you should be able to do that, manage your time, manage your energy, because you are in management. Your title when you are graduating is sarjana, yeah, still sarjana, yeah, or the I think it is not the international degree yet, maybe still sarjana, yeah, maybe sarjana ekonomi in management science, maybe. I don't know, yeah. Maybe in the 3 or 5 years, because you are in the international class, maybe you have international degree, yeah. When you have the international degree, your degree is BSc, yeah, Bachelor in Science. I think, yeah. I think you have the BSc if the department can lobby the ministry to make sure that your degree is international one, because you are entering international class. Yeah, there are some of your friends that I teach to that have a double degree, yeah, from the Undisa, and 3 of your friends have some degree in your friend is in accounting, yeah. In 5th semester, they have a double degree in Undisa and in Taiwan. So they have SA. Eventually, they have SA and BSc, Bachelor in Science, and then they have privilege to continue the master degree free, because they have because they entering the process, yeah, the selection process to directly when they graduate, they have the access to the master degree free in Taiwan. I teach them in the short semester, and then they will be graduated soon, yeah, in the 6th semester, yeah. They graduated in the 6th semester. Yeah, we call it acceleration, because they have the selection process, and then the class are also conducted in English, yeah. Because you can conduct it class in Indonesia in Taiwan, yeah. Because English is international language. Indonesia is not international language. Okay, Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, we already entering the end of this class. Maybe we can continue tomorrow. Yeah, some of your remaining questions. Maybe you can ask tomorrow in the behavioral organizational behavior. You have any class after this? After my class? Yeah, from who?
Yes, sir. With Mrs. Risti.
Oh, Mr. Risti. Yeah, Bu Risti is also from accounting. Is Bu Risti also use bilingual or full English like me? Or Indonesian maybe?
Mrs. Risti bilingual, sir. Using
Oh yeah.
bilingual.
Oh yeah. Maybe you can get that bilingual from Bu Risti because maybe I don't know, yeah. But it should be in full English. But maybe some lecturer want to bilingual, but I don't want it. Yeah, I want to use full English, but maybe it's not perfect, but at least I try to use full English because when you talk in the international context, when you work in the McKinsey, you can use bilingual. You should use full English when you work in the context of maybe you participate in the international conference. You can use Indonesia and English at the same time. Yeah, you should practice to use full English. So using in English is not translating from Indonesia to English. Yeah, when you speak, it should become natural to your speaking ability. Maybe it's okay to not be perfect, yeah, in your speaking, but at least you try, and the communication partner, the people who you talk with understand what you are talking in the general. Yeah? Maybe some of point you don't understand from my talk, but I hope you get the underline. Yeah? You get the point. Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, from my class. Maybe you can continue to the Bu Risti class. I'm sorry you don't have maybe the rest time, yeah, the break time. You should continue directly to the next class. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your participation, and I hope I can deliver the course to and see you tomorrow. Yeah. On the other class. Okay, I will ask your permission to leave this class. Thank you. Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.